this is a good one because I have talked about this before. I knew that that Joe Kennedy sounds familiar after 30 minutes researching. Yes, Joe Kennedy is short for Joseph Kennedy. Thank you, people. And yep, we were talking about this guy earlier, actually, when we talk about about a decision for the school that decided that they were not going to force prayer on kids anymore, but then they released kind of a statement. Well, what is this all about? This guy got fired and because he was forcing the students and the players of his team, because he's a coach, to pray. And he's trying to say that that his rights are being attacked, and now the Supreme Court is checking it. Please, guys, if you want more information, check the Non-Profits episode of April 16th. It's a good one. I was there, so you will love it. And the article in general is about this coach saying that forcing his student and players to pray is okay, and that he's been discriminated. You know, this love that some Christians have about feeling that they have been attacked or persecuted because of because they think that free speech means being able to indoctrinate children into their religion without consequences. No, people, this is not like that. And you know what? Before I let you go, guys, one of the interesting things that I read in this article is that they mentioned many things, but one that is a current issue. They said, let me quote the article. I don't want to mess this up. Justice Samuel Alito, borrowing from the news, asked about protesting the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And what if the coach had, instead of praying, gone to the center of the field and all he did was to wave an Ukrainian flag? Would he have been disciplined? And I love the answer because it's yes. A lawyer for district school said, because the district doesn't want its event taken over for political speech. And this is something that this guy forgets, that he is not there to indoctrinate people, to give a speech. No, he's a coach. He's there to make his team win, and that's it. But apparently he doesn't understand that.
Oh, yeah, so I do want to make one small little correction, because the word forced does kind of cause a little bit of a misconception there. The term talked about in the article was coercion. And so what I want to draw a distinction in is because I almost think coercion is even worse than forced in a way, because it's slyer, it's trickier, it's harder to detect, and it's easier to do without even knowing that you're doing it. Like, he could be a hardcore, really determined Christian that thinks all he's doing is good and not even realizing where he could be misstepping here, and he could still be coercing people. So the term coercion really carries, for me, a lot more danger. It's really easy to say you can't force a person to do this, you need to stop. When he says, "Well, I'm just inviting them out onto the field to pray if they want to," I have a quote from the article that really illustrates exactly why that's not okay. The article says, "The coach determines who makes varsity and who gets playing time." He said, "The students know you have to stay in the good graces of the coach if you have those aspirations." So the kid that, like, slinks off after the game is like, No, I'm not into praying. I'm gonna hit the locker room." Um, that leaves a negative impression with the coach, and the kid now has to determine, do I stand up for my beliefs and my rights, or do I do whatever he's doing just to kind of move along with the group and make everybody happy and not stand out in any negative way?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that he may not even realize what he's doing, saying, "Oh, well, they're good, players that, they're praying with us and all that." But yeah, if he sees these kids that's like you said, "Oh, why am I going to put him in?" He's just not going to perform as well because God's probably not on his side. There's a subconscious to that, where they're just going to be.
Or it could be something as simple as he's not a team player. Like, look at him. He's like, I used to be called rebellious when I would disagree with something that my father believed, right? And I think that is a very easy road to take, is, oh, that's just a rebellious student. Oh, that kid is just rebellious. Yeah. So then maybe he's not a team player, right?
He's not going to support. Oh,
I just had, like a little problem from all aspects of this, because yeah, he he should be allowed to pray. I don't believe in what he believes, and he should not be forcing or coercing any of his students to pray with him. And I like that the school did try to work with him. Some of the aspects I don't know if I was really comfortable with, like, oh, well, they could go to coach's house after school. I'm like, I don't,
Mm.
that's a little sketchy there, but that's not,
And it
that's not
certainly doesn't remove coercion. Like, oh, everybody goes except Teddy and Chris, like, eh, it doesn't solve that
Yeah,
problem.
right.
I have to agree with you guys, and I actually had the same thing about the awesome power of the coach that Laura mentioned. And according to what Jason is saying, the school actually told him that he has the freedom from religion, and the Constitution protects his quotation mark private religion expression, and he was told that he was able to pray quiet if he wanted, even if students could see him. He just was not allowed to make students pray with him. So yeah, I understand what you're saying, that because that was one of the points. They said, what if the coach had his own Bible study at home? And they said, okay, that's extracurricular, he's not forcing, students can go there. And you know what, I understand why Jason is worried about it, but I think that if students want to do that, if I was a parent, I wouldn't let my children go, because it could be a pedophile bringing children to his house. But I know, a pederast, whatever. But they could have that freedom, and that's separated from school. But yeah, then we have the thing: is it coercion? Is it not? Oh, it's hard to think this.
Why
Well, in
does it
terms
have
of
to
in terms of
be? Why does it have to be here at midfield where everybody can see? And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, wait a minute. Does this public school now sponsor this guy's particular, God belief? What are we doing here? Is there's supposed to be a kind of separation? And
Mhm.
my son, Chris or Timmy, is Jewish. Why are we praying to his God for that? It sets up so many bad scenarios. And the fact that he can't see that, the fact that, he's, oh yeah, no, I'm going to go, bring this guy to varsity and all that because they're praying with me. But no, it's disturbing.
Yeah, I think just like I did in the first episode or the first segment, flip it, make it somebody else. What if he was a Muslim coach going out there and praying at the end, or Hindu or any other religion other than Christianity, and the minority of the people? Because one of the arguments for him is, well, the majority of the parents are cool with it and they go out and pray with him, and the students go out and pray with him. That's great for the majority, but rules and rights are not there to protect the majority. They're there to protect those people who fall through the cracks and who are potentially oppressed by the majority. So, yes, we need to protect religious freedoms for religious expression. But when you
That
start talking about representing a specific religion at a specific public event, at a specific public school, in a very specific way that he refused to change. When they asked him to do it more discreetly, he said, no, it has to be on the 50-yard line, right? Like, that's just his thing. That's what God is calling him to do. Now
it
you
has
have
to be
this
out in the open.
situation where it's a public call to that specific religion. So would he, that same individual, be okay with it if it was a different religion? Or if atheists ganged up there every end of game and said, something about how, like, God doesn't exist, let's celebrate our, like, our own, personal perseverance is what made us win, and there's no God. And, I mean, like, it's all about the players and how hard they work, but there's no God. Like, just tying it back to religion every single time, it would be abhorrent to any of the attendees who were religious, right?
Or just a satanic
Um,
temple.
like,
Yeah,
what I was just about to say, like,
yeah.
what happens with the Satanic Temple? Yeah, where they really rile religious people up just by showing them the same behavior, but from a different perspective, and it's completely contradicting. So I think we have a fine line to walk here. Like, a lot of my thoughts while reading this argument was, where are the fine lines? Where is a person allowed to have personal expression of religion? Not just personal belief. We can all agree that people should be able to believe what they want to believe. But now we're talking about expressing what they believe. Where's that line between expressing what they believe and creating a public display of like a call to a religion that can potentially be coercive and, in this case, maybe even dangerous? right? Because they were talking about how the people stormed down after the game and they all run out to the field and kids have gotten knocked over and people have gotten hurt. So where is that line? Is it a line that we can actually draw?
And where is the line that would keep it out of the Supreme Court? I mean, this is an employment issue. Why is this going, through? You have to imagine all the different appeals processes that it went through when he could just find a job at a Christian school where it wouldn't have been a big deal at all.
Go. Yeah.
There has to be some. And if they're able to see, this is a good Christian coach, he's praying and, is going to do it before and after. And, during the mid halftime. There we go. I know sports.
There you go.
Ball.
There it is.
There we go.
I know things with the balls.
Yeah, no. It's just I don't understand how it went to the Supreme Court when there are so many other things that could have been heard. And well, actually, maybe we don't need to have that happen because again, that's happening next week.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to spend too much time going through the article to try and find exactly where, but I'm pretty sure the article explains why it went to the Supreme Court because at first it was denied. So that is definitely something to look into and study further. Is how do things like this reach that high? What is it about this that makes it reach quite that high? Because that's something that we really need to know about as a public. Like when we're talking about public activism and stuff, is like how do we have that same kind of sort of power and balance and narrative of like, well, these are our rights, and these, if those rights need to be heard by the Supreme Court, these same rights need to be heard as well, right?
It does seem that the Supreme Court can just take or break or even completely ignore cases whenever they want. That there's just bringing it to the Supreme Court doesn't guarantee that you will get there. Even going through all the different appeals process, going through the different appeals courts, there's still no guarantee that you'll get your day, no matter how passionate you are. We might not have our day in the Supreme Court if we really, if I was fired tomorrow because I'm an atheist, I don't know that I would have any recourse because, you're an atheist, but that's not religious discrimination because you don't have one.
You don't have a religion. You're not protected by religious discrimination.
Which I know you on that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, but I just want to summon I'm afraid of the USA turning into a theocracy because we see that the Supreme Court have their favorites. They are supporting this guy who shouldn't have been praying. The general issue that you will be talking about next week. And guys, your country really scared me because I know that the countries in South America are going to start copying your Christian version of Pakistan that you are creating over there. And it's creepy as hell, for real.
And it's not just going to be Latin America. It's also going to be Europe. It's going to be parts of Asia. What we are doing here will have worldwide ramifications. And the sooner people realize that it's not just America first, that, we, like it or not, we have to be ambassadors because, we're living, free and terms and conditions apply, obviously. But we, as much as the world hates us in some aspects, they also follow us in a lot of others, just like Teo said. But I think that's a good stopping point for this particular one. And so let's take a break in the conversation.